Hello everyone, and welcome to another installment of Chart Power, where we look at some chart fundamentals and try to get a big picture of where cryptos are at. Okay, so today I want to look at a few different factors that basically play into the idea of how different cryptos play against each other. Specifically how Bitcoin plays against the alts and specifically Chainlink. So we're going to look at a little bit of a comparison between those two. Now, this is going to be a little tricky to fit all of this data in one screen here, but I'll do my best. Okay. So at the top we have Bitcoin, and these are all daily charts, meaning that each one of these bars, which we call candles, represents one day. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have here. First of all, in the middle chart here, Chainlink, it was progressing along on this trend here, on this trend line here pretty nicely, trending upward pretty steadily, and then it broke through that right here, and then it bounced back up to that same line again. But what's interesting is this area right here. I don't want to obscure it with my markings, so let me just put a little arrow right there. Okay, because as you can see, the next time it came back up, it failed to reach that trend line again. Now, ideally, this kind of movement happens pretty often, so it's not like a rare thing for that to happen. What we're looking at is the Chainlink versus the Bitcoin chart. It's a very different scale. Kind of doesn't really have that much to do with the previous chart that we were looking at. I just wanted to show you how trends can work this way, where they'll be following this nice trend line pretty steadily for a while, right? And then breaks through just like we had on the other chart, bounces back up to that line, but in this case it reached that line again. So that shows some good strength. This is a much wider scale. This is a weekly chart, and it's a logarithmic scale. So it really shows some different types of information. But my point is that it would have been nice to see, well, if you're a Chainlink fan, it would have been nice to see this same kind of action in the price in the other chart that I'm showing you. Okay, let's go back to that chart. So as I was saying, it failed to do that. It didn't get back up to this line. And this is what this video is all about. Why didn't it get back to that line? Well, okay, let's look at this chart at the bottom here. This is the total crypto market cap chart. This represents all the money that is in all the cryptos, or most of them. Okay, so let me line up my charts here a little bit better. Okay, so if we look at the same, so on the top we have Bitcoin, the middle chart is Chainlink, and the bottom one is the total crypto. So when everything crashed, obviously they all went down, but Chainlink rebounded pretty nicely. It got back up to that blue line again. And then it came back down again. As I said, it failed to reach that same line. So what happened? Well, you may or may not know that Bitcoin has made a little bit of a comeback. It has broken $40,000. I'm going to mark it right here. We're currently sitting at right around the $40,000 mark. So it's the first time it's been there since back here, since a little while. Now you can see Bitcoin also failed to make it back up to that blue line where it broke the trend there, and has yet to see what's going to happen here. However, it did just now reach a higher point than it was at before, whereas Chainlink, look at where Chainlink is. So after it had this big breakthrough and the nice rebound up here, well, now it's all the way down here. So you can see that, relatively speaking, Chainlink right now is weaker than Bitcoin. Bitcoin is at the top or breaking through the top of this pattern, while Chainlink is nowhere near it. And this, where I pointed that arrow at, is when things changed. Chainlink was strong here during after the break, the crash, and the rebound. Chainlink was strong. Now Bitcoin is stronger. This is where things changed, and so I'm getting to the big view, the big overall point here, which is, let's look at the same time the total crypto market cap. Okay, this area here. Not that much change here. As I pointed out before, in fact, let me do this a little differently. I pointed out in my previous video how it has been bouncing between the $1.8 trillion mark, which I'll mark here, every time it hit a $1.5 trillion in all the cryptos. And quite a few times here for me to mark, because it just keeps hitting that amount of money in cryptos. So it's bouncing between the 1.8 there and then also the 1.5. Again, I covered this in a previous video, but just real quickly here, I'm going to show you how many times the total market value of cryptos has bounced between $1.8 trillion in all the cryptos and $1.5 trillion in all the cryptos. It just keeps bouncing and bouncing and bouncing in that range. So how that relates is the fact that as I'm talking about Chainlink and Bitcoin trading off in which one is stronger than the other, you see that not that much money has really entered or left the market during that time. It's still right in that zone. And so what that means is you have to think of cryptos as a big jug of water that is being shared between all of them. The amount of money in it is a finite resource, and when that resource, the money, the water, flows into one crypto, it means it's flowing out of another one. And what a lot of the big players do is they're trying to maximize their returns. So as one goes up, they take their money out of that one, they take their profits, but they don't just have it sit in the sidelines, they put it into another one. Then that one goes up and they take the profits and they put it in another one. And this is why you get this kind of ebb and flow of sometimes this coin's doing better and sometimes that coin's doing better. And there's a lot of factors that play into which one is doing that. But again, today we're focusing on Bitcoin versus Chainlink. And just to go back here, the point is this is where it changed. Chainlink was doing very well, very strong. It rebounded nicely and it was going for it again. And then all of a sudden there was the change. Suddenly now Chainlink is weak and Bitcoin is on the rise. So we want to pay attention to what's going to happen in this area. And if you're a Chainlink fan, which I am, it's great that it got back above the $25 level. Again, I pointed that out in another video. The $25 level is a very key level for Chainlink. So it's not like it's dead in the water or anything, but typically when Bitcoin is on the move and it's strong and the money is flowing into Bitcoin, it's generally flowing out of the altcoins. And that's why you see this weakness in Chainlink. Okay, now let's look at Bitcoin here for a moment. Okay, so we have a strengthening Bitcoin, which if you own Bitcoin is a great thing. If it depends on your asset allocation. Do you have more money in Bitcoin or more money in Chainlink, or the other alts, and the way that they play off of each other is going to determine whether you think this is good news or bad news. But if you own Bitcoin, well, it's great to see it strengthening. So let's take a look at the strengthening Bitcoin for a moment here, and how time plays into markets as a very big factor. And a lot of people try to just think in terms of up or down. Just they maybe watch a video like this and think, hey, just tell me, is it going to go up or is it going to go down? Well, that's a fine question, but even better question is when, because that makes all the difference depending on when you've bought or when you've sold. So let's take a look at time. Okay, so in general, the moves that Bitcoin makes from one low to another, let's just take this one as an example. From this low to this low is 20 days, and from there's a little bit of art in here. We could choose this low. I'm going to choose this low, and this one is 18 days. Okay, and from this low to this low is 25 days. And you can kind of see in general a pattern here that Bitcoin from this low to this low, 25 days, that Bitcoin generally, at least in recent history, has made a move somewhere around, after about 25 days in a certain area, it completes its pattern and moves on. So let's see how long we have been in this zone. So here's this low, and I'm going to go to this low, assuming that this move, which this is an assumption, that this move will continue and break out of this area. Now, that may not be the case, but that's what we're trying to determine. From this low to this low is 20 days, and Bitcoin in the past has had a pattern of generally making a move to a different area after about 25 days. So this could be the end of the pattern, and it will move on. Let's see what 25 days looks like. That'll probably put us right about where we are. Yeah, 25 days puts us right about there. So the big picture, when you put together the strengthening of Bitcoin after the big drop, strengthening against the alts, and the fact that it is breaching the top of this pattern for the first time since it made this peak here, and the time factor of how many days it generally takes to make a move, it certainly, based on those factors, looks bullish for Bitcoin. Now, if you own more alts and maybe Chainlink than Bitcoin, maybe that doesn't make you that happy. However, just keep in mind, if Bitcoin goes up, it's good for the markets overall. And the alts usually have to wait until Bitcoin settles down a bit for them to start making their move. So, to sum up, if Bitcoin does continue to move up now, Chainlink and other alts could lag a bit. It will still be good for them. But let's say that Bitcoin moves up into this area and then stagnates before making new highs. Let me just complete that drawing there. Just as an idea, not a prediction, but just an idea of what might happen. It might stagnate before reaching new highs. So this circled area is, if this plays out like this, this circled area is where I would really be looking for Chainlink and the alts to really catch up. Anyway, so that's kind of a big picture view of what's gone on in the past, what's happening right now, and what might possibly happen in the future. So that's all I have for you today. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time. If you have different thoughts on what you think might happen or what factors are playing into what's going on now, I'd love to hear about them in the comment section. And if you found this content valuable, please leave a like and subscribe so that you will be notified of future videos. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you. Bye-bye.